going live. Okay. We're live.
Awesome.
Just double check.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to share that. All right, looks like it's good to go.
Okay. Oops, what just happened?
I'm just sharing it to a couple places real quick.
All right. I'm like trying to get to all the places so I can see all the comments in all the places. We've got the watch party going. We've got the live stream going.
Yay. All the places. And I'm sending it to a couple places too real quick.
Okay. Say hi as you guys are hopping on. Hey, Tara. I'm like trying to get to all the places so I can see all the comments. How did I do this last time so that I could hear you
and see everything at the same time?
I did this last time where I could hear, but I wasn't getting the echo and I didn't have my computer turned down.
And you
had where are my headphones? They're not even in here. Oh my goodness. It's crazy town, I tell you.
Listen, between Malia and the I mean, we're just all winning.
We'll get it together. Just hold on one second.
It's always worth it, right? You gotta wait, and then it's gonna be real extra.
They were in my bathroom, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I saw the little buddy you made today, the little friends you made today. Can you hear me? All right, when people are hopping on, I just can't see anything. Nope, that's not going to work. That's not going to work.
I don't know what's happening here. I guess I don't have an echo now.
When people are hopping on, I just can't see anything.
I guess we're good. I don't know what happened there, but we're good to go. So let's do the damn thing.
All right, if you're good, I'm good.
Hello.
Funny, like I'm always used to being in your seat. You know what I mean? Like I'm not used to being the one interviewed. I'm used to being the one interviewing. So this will be interesting.
And you just did an interview with me not too long ago. I guess I don't have an interview.
Yeah, just a couple months ago.
I guess we're good. There's the echo coming now. So let's do the damn thing. All right, hold on.
All right, if you're good up. Yeah, that's annoying.
Okay, I fixed it. I figured out how to fix it.
Ooh, you so techie.
All right. I silenced it. So,
no.
Yeah. So you just interviewed me recently. What was that for?
Yep. So one of the hosting gigs I've had this year was for it was like an Activate Your Wealth Coach show. So that was a couple months ago that you and I just talked all things wealth and money and currency, all the good stuff for a different client that I had. So yeah, I like being in your shoes. It's new, it's been a long time, I feel like, since I've been interviewed. Like in my old businesses, I used to be interviewed pretty frequently, but it's been a while. I'm either speaking or interviewing. So this will be fun.
Wow. So you are an Ouroboros alumni.
Round 3, yep. 3 for
Round
3. OG, yes.
been in for all 3. She's another early adopter and continually showing out to do the damn thing. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
If you missed yesterday's interview with Mallory, Kirsten, definitely go watch that. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed that interview. This series is really just all about becoming wealthy. And I wanted to interview people on their journey and on this process. And so what you're going to get here, I'm doing a 9-day series. And I think I'll probably continue to do it after that. It won't be 9 days in a row, but right now I'm doing 9 days in a row. And the purpose of it really is to I want you to see what this journey to economic and energetic freedom looks like. And I want you to see it from as many different perspectives as possible. Like I have some exciting people coming up later in the week that I'm going to be doing that are a little further along in their journey. But I really want you to see that like this is a lifelong journey and it is a process and it is, making a commitment to showing up for yourself and doing the work and continuing to face the things as they come up along the road, and that it isn't perfect and that it often is very messy, in fact. But, the journey is amazing, and the journey can be just as rewarding as the destination. You never reach the destination if you're truly doing this work right, is what I believe. Right. And so that's what this interview series is about. And so I'm really excited to have Kari here because I have been working with her for a while. I'm actually currently taking her through the spiral as well.
Yes.
One of the very few people that I'm actually taking through the spiral this year. And so we are on like a really, really incredible journey there, but she's also now just opted back in for round 3 of Ouroboros as a VIP. Yeah. And yeah, so I just want to talk to you a little bit about your journey. And I think, similar to the question that I asked Mallory yesterday, it's like, where were you before you found me, before you found this work? Like, what was happening in your life? What was going on? Tell us a little bit about like where you came from and what your money story was.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting because you and I had been connected for a while, right? And like I had used some of your amazing skincare 1,000 years ago, but we really never interacted. And I was kind of doing my life and you were doing your life. And then, a couple of years ago, I got divorced and it was like the best decision ever. And now we're best friends. But then I found myself unexpectedly pregnant and everything was kind of imploding. And any story in my life that I thought like shame or doubt or fear was attached to, like that I thought I had released, was coming up, like just so extreme financially, with this unexpected pregnancy, with this guy I'd been dating for like 5 seconds, There's just so many things that just weren't okay. And I saw Ouroboros. I was like, you know what? I knew I needed something and I knew I needed something different and I didn't know what it was going to look like. And so when Ouroboros came up, like, I don't even remember if but I remember messaging you being like, I don't even know what this is. You and I haven't talked in forever. Like, I'm in because I just don't know what this is and I need it. It's really like how it came through. So round 1 of Ouroboros, I was pregnant with her and just was really, I had pregnancy depression and I was, I had run through my whole savings because I wasn't working because I was so sick with her. And I was really dealing with the fallout of like a lot of emotional stuff and physical stuff that was being manifested because of that, not just financially, right? But in my health and in my my emotions and in my relationships and in my beliefs about my own self-worth, really. You know, like that's one of your biggest, you know, currencies of wealth, I believe, right? Is your own self-worth. And so going through round one and then going through round two, it was like, there was so much that came up, especially with the generational stuff. Like, you know, my grandparents came here in the 50s and my mom was raised a certain way. And, you know, it's like everyone, there was always this, you have to work really hard to get anywhere, right? Like there was really like this, to be a good person, you work really, really hard and then you can make a little bit of money. And I was like, wait a second, like I've always known that I don't subscribe to that, like in theory, but it was still so stuck to me. Do you know what I mean? Like it was still stuck in me, even though I didn't want to believe it. And I found like going through Ouroboros and like releasing a lot of the generational stuff and releasing a lot of the stories that I found were keeping my self-worth tied down and almost in debt on the self-worth level of things, as well as releasing a lot of the beliefs that I thought I wasn't attached to that I totally was. You know what I mean? Like has now resulted in one, I feel really good about myself. And not just on a superficial level, although I feel myself too. So, hey, you know what I mean? Like, that's cool. But even like on a health way, like this is the best I have looked. This is the best that I have felt. This is the best my self-esteem has been. And realistically on paper, like I should be like freaking out about life, right? You know what I mean? Like I'm a single mom. I've got 3 kids. Like I haven't had like a steady income in 1,000 years. You know what I mean? Like it just, and yet because I'm not attached to anything anymore, I've been able to create space for literally opportunities to drop in my lap. I mean, the hosting gig that I had you on, that was the second round of that show. And that show literally dropped in my lap, like right after we started round 1 of Ouroboros, like out of nowhere. And it's like, it was my dream gig, you know, to do what I love to do. And now I'm having an even next higher level opportunity that just dropped into my lap that is completely in my wheelhouse with my strengths and gifts and passions. And it's at like that higher pay scale, doing what I love to do and not leveraging my time for money as much. So there's just been this really unique transition with finances and health and emotional wealth and well-being and self-worth. And there's just, I mean, there's so much to even go into. It's like, where do you even start? Because everything has changed and nothing has changed all at the same time. Like it was always there, you know?
Yeah. I just posted this thing on my Facebook page it came because my cousin had commented on something, and she's recently entered the coaching field, and she had commented about something, the universe making something really uncomfortable for her. And I was like, oh yeah, welcome to the journey. And I just posted something on my Facebook page that was like, God rarely makes it comfortable once you've committed to the journey of reaching your infinite potential. And it's like, once you say you're all in, it's go time. And so, you know, I'm excited to interview you today and to talk to you, because I think for you, what I've really seen is like, you absolutely have been one of those people that like God, divine source, all that is, whatever you call it, has literally been stripping away everything that's not serving you.
Yeah.
And like, you've been really uncomfortable, especially in the last few months. And like Spiral has a tendency to do that as well, right? So you're like getting this double whammy of like Ouroboros and Spiral. But like, I wanted to kind of like have you speak to that, because I know like for anyone else, for the majority of people that haven't done this work, that are watching this interview, if they had been going through what you've been going through over the last few months, they would be like curled up in fetal position, like in their bed, like not seeing the light of day, because they would be so crippled with like all the old shit and the fear and the worry and the doubt and all this stuff. And I feel like you've really just been handling everything that's happening in your life with such grace. But maybe you could just speak to that, because I know that like, I know you feel that way. I know like you definitely feel like everything that's not serving you is literally getting stripped away from you.
Yes. Yeah. And everything that I even thought was serving me was getting stripped away. So it's like, oh, I thought that was working for me. It wasn't. All right, great. Yeah, I've had many conversations, and obviously I've reached out to you like crying, like I can't deal, like what's going on? I know this is supposed to be good, right? And just like falling apart, but not really falling apart. And that is the biggest thing that I have noticed is it's not even like accepting how things are going. It's more like surrendering into believing that there's something better and knowing like, hey, I keep talking about these things, right? I keep talking about conditioning. I keep talking about programming. I keep talking about limitless possibility. I keep talking about miracles and miraculous change and living by faith instead of fear. And, but guess what happens when you start to talk about those things? Like you get put to the test, so to speak, or you know what I mean? Like you were saying, things get stripped away. And the truth of the matter is, and I appreciate your perspective on this, right? Because I'm the one going through it. So my perspective on it, is a little bit different than somebody else's, but it was really a lot of letting go and surrender and recognizing like, okay, because it was ugly. My bank account did not have very many dollars in it, and I had tuition payments and rent payments and I've got a new baby who's with me literally 24/7 and didn't have an income coming in and didn't have childcare and was really like, how am I going to do, like, how am I pulling this off? Like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm breastfeeding. And so she's got a sensitive stomach. So even from a food perspective, like there's so many things, like I couldn't even go to my binge eating. Jim, like I couldn't even go to like emotional eating for comfort, like any comfort, so to speak, that I wanted to seek out, like wasn't available to me. Even that, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't even like I could be like, oh, I'm just going to go down a bunch of chocolate or I'm just going to go binge eat on all these carbs or whatever. Like I couldn't even do that. And with her too, like I can't right now physically, I don't work out because I get hives and things. So it's like any distraction is really what it is, right? Anything that I wanted to distract myself with or deaden myself with, maybe in the past, or what you would stereotypically do, like, oh, you want to start drinking a lot, or oh, you want to go do this, or you want to go do that. And it's like, I really put myself in a position that those were not options for me, which then just you sit in the ick, right? Like you sit in the ick and it's like, this feels really uncomfortable and this feels really ugly. And this is what like, oh, wait a second. I've been talking about faith versus fear. And everyone wants to think that faith is like this beautiful, like rainbows and sunshine and Jesus, and it's so smooth. And like, the truth is, right? Like, if you really want to live by faith, like whatever you believe in, like I love me some Jesus, like whatever you believe in, like if you really want to live by faith, your life is not going to be boring. It's not going to like be consistently the same, like time in and time out. And it's not going to be like cute. Like then I'm sorry, you're not really living by faith. Like you're not. If it's messy and ugly and chaotic and you're like, what the hell's going on? Oh, now you're living by faith because you've been stripped of everything you were attached to. You know what I mean? So it really put me in my place, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it's like that saying, like it's not faith until the 13th hour has come and gone and you're still believing. Yep. Like faith isn't like, you believe something and then it comes like right on time. Like that actually is not faith, right?
Right. And I remember like, and it's so fun to watch other people in my family's transformations too, right? But like, I remember when I was younger and something would go, like I would have a vision or I'd get a download and I wouldn't know at the time necessarily that it was like a download or channeled or whatever, but something would come through and I'd move in that direction and then something would go sideways, right? As it inevitably does. Like, and I would get the message from the feedback from the people around me, like, oh, don't you think that's a message like that you're just not supposed to do X, Y, or Z? And I'd be like, oh, maybe that is a message. It's not. That's total BS to keep us playing small. That's total programming and, conditioning to be like, nope, just kidding. You thought you wanted that. No, just stay over here. Just stay over here. You know what I mean? And I remember being like, going through this process and recognizing that and seeing that and being like, okay, when things go sideways, it's not because what the vision that I received, because I would receive visions from God or directions or opportunities. It's not that those aren't meant to be, right? It's like you're breaking through all of the things that are keeping you stuck and small. So you got to step up bigger.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I've been really like contemplating this idea of survival of the fittest lately. I'm not sure what's happening with the watch party. Summer, can you still see the watch party? It's saying it's having an error loading, so I'm just making sure. If you are watching on the watch party and you want to come join the full conversation, definitely come over to the business page. It's www.facebook.com/the Leah Steele. I'm just not, I can't see the watch party, so I don't know if it's still going. It looks like there's still people on there. Anyway, if you've lost connection there, well, and if you've lost connection, you probably can't even hear me saying this right now, right?
I don't know. Mine's got a delay, so I can't tell if it's on or not.
I just sent a message. Maybe we'll see what they say. So I've been sort of like really diving deep into this idea of like survival of the fittest, because there's this part of me that like, I really don't believe that God tests us. I don't believe that the divine God source universe, I don't believe that we're tested in a way that's like, how bad do you really want it? Like prove yourself. Like, I don't believe that that's the case.
No.
But I do believe, and I do think that there is it's like we have to go through the worthiness and deserving rite of passage. It's like there is this foundational piece of like, we have to fully feel worthy and deserving. Because if we don't, then again, it's like some of the stuff that we talked about in the live stream yesterday, which was building, you know, trying to build multi-million-dollar mansions on top of rotting foundations.
Yeah.
And the strongest parts of your foundation are your feelings of worth and deserving. So your worthiness and your deserving are the strongest parts of those foundations. Like, I truly believe that. And so what I believe the universe or God does is testing us, not to see how bad we want it, not to make ourselves prove ourselves, but God is testing us to see, do you really feel worthy? Do you really feel deserving? Because if you don't, that's not going to be successful. You're not going to be successful in building that multi-million-dollar mansion if you don't have the foundation of worth and deserving. And so that's where I believe like God comes in and goes,
right.
Let me throw a little curveball here and see, do you feel worthy? Do you feel deserving? And if you don't, it's okay. It's not like, now I'm going to punish you and this horrible thing's going to happen. It's like, no, now I'm going to give you another lesson. I'm going to give you another opportunity to step fully into worthiness and deserving. And then once you get to that point, then you're going to move on to the next. And it's like, for me, it's like, it feels like this like survival of the fittest. It's like, if you've gotten, like, you have to be fit enough to move to the next stage. And if you're not, it just means you need to get stronger in that area, right? But you don't get to move on to the promised land if you feel like a piece of shit about yourself.
Right. It's like you have to have a certain level of faith. Do you know what I mean? Like, and if you really want to go towards that whole direction, right? It's like, yo, y'all didn't believe, y'all chilled in the desert for 40 years. Y'all didn't get to see it because your faith, like, it wasn't on point. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you really want to bring it to like the biblical side of God or whatever. But the truth is, like, I also don't think that it's like God testing us in a judgment way. That's not what divine love is. Like, that's not what unconditional, universal, like, love is. It's not judgment. So how could that be possible? I do think it is the worthiness piece and the deserving piece, because if you don't believe that you can receive something, then it's not going to work. You get another opportunity to learn it. But I do also, Malia, I do also think something else though too, because I do think that when we are stepping into that next level for ourselves, whatever that is, that it's also the programming around us being like, wait a second, like you're tapping, like you're moving from this programming, you're moving from this conditioning. Like, it's like that, breaking that glass ceiling in a sense, but within our own framework, right? So it's like, wait a second, like you're bumping up against something, and it's because you were operating from this old system, and now you're no longer available for that old system. And it's like, wait, don't forget us. You know what I mean? It's like that the elevator in Willy Wonka, right? You know what I mean? When they just like shoot through the glass ceiling, they're like, all right, we just don't have time. We're unavailable for this now. Do you mean like we're unavailable for like the smallness? And it didn't feel so good in the beginning, but then you're like, oh, now I can have all of this. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I would love for you to just talk about some of the wins that you've had.
Yeah.
Since, I mean, you're going into round 3 now, so you've been here since the beginning. So I'd love to just hear some of the wins that you've had. Yeah. Whatever those are that you want to share.
There's a lot. I mean, there's probably even more than I've documented. There's probably even more than I remember, but I remember from round 1. And like I said, I was pregnant with Malia, and in round 1, I had that hosting gig fall into my lap, right? And it was the first time that something's come to me that I can actually remember, something pretty major in my wheelhouse, literally falling in my lap. It's the first time I can remember that ever actually happening for me. There was a lot of drama around her birth and who was going to be there and just like on that side of things. And I just remember kind of like all of it falling away and being like, well, what do I really want? And really allowing myself to create some new boundaries, right? So a lot of stepping into this self-worth piece ended up looking like creating a lot of boundaries around people that I hadn't created in the past. I also remember from round 1, all of a sudden, I was receiving these large amounts of money that I was like, wow, I never saw this coming, that came from random places that I would have never like believed. Like all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, my rent is due. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to get kicked out or whatever. And all of a sudden, like, there would be this huge check that came from somewhere. Like, once it was a tax return, once it was like my church actually, you know, just like these places that I was like, oh, okay, right? So like, that was round 1. And then round 2, we had her, right? She was a part of round 2. She was out and about. And I unexpectedly got asked to host the second season of that show, right? And I was home with her and nursing every 5 seconds, and had the other 2 kids home all summer. They weren't in summer camp or anything. So I had all 3 kids home with me. And yet somehow, like, I remember having energy, which is like unheard of. I'm just gonna put her down and she'll play. Hold on. I just like I remember having like physical energy. Like I remember having clarity of mind. I remember, you know, prioritizing and not judging and beating myself up or stressing out about things, which would stereotype. I mean, in a normal situation, you would do that, right? Like you just gave birth, you're home with 3 kids that are little all summer. Like you don't have like a regular job. Like you don't even have childcare, right? Like you would normally be like losing your shit. And for some reason, right? Like we all know that this is what I'm talking about. There was this sense of peace and there was this sense of presence. It really allowed me to be present. I wasn't so much focused on the past. I wasn't leaning into the future. I had gotten this really great opportunity that I had been promised in the fall, which completely fell apart. But in the moment, that's what I thought I had, right, for a financial gain. And I was able to be present in a way that I know I couldn't have been prior to this, because it released so much of the judgment and it released so much of the expectation that allowed me to just trust what I was doing. And the biggest thing for round 2, I'll say, well, yeah, come on, is that round 2 continued to move me in a direction, not just of self-worth, but being able to integrate all the pieces of me, right? And so before, like her fussing right now would have stressed me out. Like I would have lost my damn mind. I'd be bright red. I'd be so embarrassed. I'd be having anxiety. Like seriously, I would be like, oh my God, you can't hear me, or she's too loud, or I'm not professional, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like I really struggled integrating, especially like my professional life and my mom life, and like the messiness and the chaos that comes with being a mom, and then still having all these other values, right? It was like, wait a second, like I just like I am a mom, and it doesn't change like the other gifts and skills and talents that I bring to the table, and it doesn't take away from like my value as a human, and it doesn't take away my value from my work. And some people watching this might be like, well, duh. But for me, that was a really, really big thing to be able to integrate it all and to not hold on to that like really intense judgment that was then keeping me stuck and keeping me frozen because I didn't just not choose to, couldn't integrate everything because of all of the attachments to everything. Like that everything had to be, it had to look this way and it had to look this way and it couldn't look this way and it couldn't seem this way. And it's fine to be messy at home, but you can't be messy at work, or, you know, you just can't, right? All the can'ts and all the shoulds that are all bullshit, right? Like anytime you say can't and should, you know, you're full of shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous. So that was, I would say, the biggest thing. And again, like my physical health, like this is the best I have physically been in years, you know. This is the most clarity I have had. Like I don't question myself anymore. I don't doubt myself anymore. And that has allowed me to receive opportunities and allowed me to receive money and allowed me to just receive, period, in a way that I would never have been able to in the past.
You know, it's interesting. Like, I want to touch on what you're talking about with the motherhood and the worthiness thing. And I think like it's so important. And like, I literally welcome like any pregnant women. I mean, for a while there, like everyone I was taking to the spiral was getting pregnant. I was like, maybe you don't want to go to the spiral with me if you don't want to get pregnant. People are getting pregnant left and right. But like I welcome with open arms, like any woman that is pregnant or expecting or like is early in motherhood to come into my programs. And it's like, you know, because when I started doing this work and I was really like in the trenches of doing this work, I had Jack and he was nursing and I was starting this business and he was at home full time. And, you know, there wasn't a nanny, and we were, you know, I was nursing on live streams and I was having to show up and create this business from scratch with a baby that was nursing, you know, who has sensory processing disorder, who isn't, you know, I mean, everybody knows Jack, right? Like who has a very, very strong, very outgoing, very buoyant personality. I mean, like, I'll never forget the day that like he called me a fuck face when I was on the live stream. But you know, like, and I was like, this is me, like, this is who I am. Obviously, like things have evolved a little bit more now. He's 5, so he's like more independent and he's out sort of like doing his own thing now at this point. He still checks in on the live streams every now and then. But there is absolutely programming around motherhood and working. And, you know, I talked about this on the interview yesterday. It's like, Ouroboros is a wealth repatterning program, but it's not just a money program, right? Absolutely. Right. Do you get financial and economic freedom from participating in the program? Yes, because that's one component of wealth, but it's not just a money program. It is an overall wealth repatterning program. And as women, especially as mothers, like we have been very conditioned, one, to just not feel worthy. Like to not feel worthy and to not feel deserving. And, you know, there is this piece of like having to sacrifice for everyone. We're definitely taught to put everyone, especially our children, before ourselves. And then there is this thing around the perfection, right? Where it's like, if I'm not doing it right, or if I'm not doing it the way that I perceive people think the perfect mom is doing it, then it totally spins us out. And then it sends us into this like downward cycle of shame. And so, you know, like I love, like when I was being interviewed by you, it was so amazing to me that like you have Malia there, like you were nursing during the interview that you did with me. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm here for it. Like empowering our mothers empowers our children, and empowering our children creates a whole new reality of experience of life on this planet. Right. And so for me, it's like this worthiness and this deserving. It's like, oh, yes, I am worthy of having the life that I deeply desire. I am worthy of having the business that I deeply desire. And I am worthy of having an amazing relationship with my children. And those things don't have to be mutually exclusive. Like I get to literally be a mom. You know, I was on the welcome call, I think of, was it the welcome call? Oh no, I was on my master class. I was doing my master class the other night, and Jack came in the middle, and he was supposed to be like doing something with Sean, and Sean had to go get his food, and like Jack came in and was like wanted me to buy this thing on his iPad, you know, and I'm like, and I know that some women would have been like, oh, I'm on this master class. Like, there's all these new people that are coming into my community that
Right.
haven't known me. I mean, there was a huge influx of like new people that came into that master class. And
Yep.
I'm like, this is me. This is my life. This is my, like, I, right now, like, it, is it more important for me to be like, no, Jack, I can't help you do this thing right now because I'm on this master class where people have paid for my time? Fuck no, no. Like the most important thing is that one, you know, and it wasn't about like buying him the game, but it is about him being feeling like he's heard and him feeling like I don't put work before him, right? So we have chosen a very different parenting method. So I'm like, in the scheme of things, if I spend 10 minutes, which I think I did, it was about 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, where I just literally was like, hold on, and like was present with him and like did whatever I needed to do with him. And then I'm like, if I have to spend 10 more minutes on the master class, or if, you know, the master class gets 10 minutes less than I originally planned on giving them, like, it's not the end of the world and who cares? And also, that's me. And that is my priority. My children are my priority,
Yes.
definitely over my business. And if you're not down with that, you shouldn't be following me or paying to work with me anyway, because I can guarantee you, if you, once you start working with me, and you know this, once you start working with me at higher levels, you see my kids more.
Yep.
Like the more the higher the level of commitment that you make to work with me, the more you're going to see my kids. So if you can't get down with it on a master class, you're in the wrong place.
Right.
But it wasn't always like that. And I was very unsure and I was very unsettled in the like stepping into my business and being a mother. So like I love seeing you do that, and I've loved seeing your witnessing your journey with that.
And I want to actually I would love to speak to that a little bit more, because I don't actually ever really talk about this very much at all. And I think now that you're saying it, it's really important, which is, so I've got 3 kids, right? So my oldest is 6.5, my son is 4, and obviously I've got Malia, who's 8 months. And my first 2 I obviously had with my ex-husband, and I was married, but even then I remember finding out that I was unexpectedly pregnant with my oldest, and I was like just losing my mind, because I was raised where you get married, you have kids, you're a stay-at-home mom, and that's what you do, to the point where you lose your identity, right? And you don't know who you are and you don't know what you have. So now I've got these kids and I'm like, wait a second, like I really had this whole identity crisis where it's like, it's not that I don't want to be a mom, but how do I be a mom and still be me? And how do I still be me and have the big dreams that I have for my business and for my money situation? And then you throw like a new baby, like out of a freshly divorced situation, which again, in my culture and my family background, generally, you don't get divorced. You don't have kids out of, marriage, and everyone's a stay-at-home mom. And I didn't know any professional women growing up. All the women I knew were moms and like maybe teachers. Do you mean like I didn't know any women who were successful or had their own businesses or were moms and did anything outside of that identity? And so there was a lot of ugly, ugly, ugly work, like really ugly, messy work that got me to this place of stepping into these really successful, roles and being able to stand on my own 2 feet financially. And, and it's still a work in progress, right? Like I'm still working to get to the levels financially that I want to, but I have seen the expansion that comes with that. And I see the clarity and the confidence that has come with releasing all of the struggle that I had because of the beliefs that I brought into my own situation.
Yeah.
But it was not easy and it was not overnight. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot.
Yeah. And it's still
hard.
not easy all the time, right? Like
I
had
know.
a call recently where I was like, where Jack was just like, wouldn't, stop. And it was just, and I was getting really, and it was like, I was sharing something that was quite, I was sharing something that was like quite, I was like fired up about something that was happening in one of my programs. And it was like kind of an impromptu, like I was getting on the live stream to like give a little foot and ass,
Yeah.
And then so Jack was picking up on that energy of me being frustrated. And so then he was like acting up in the background, and then like I was frustrated. I think it might've been the last round of Ouroboros actually. And I was just like, Jack, like, you know, and it was just like, and I was in one of those old moments where I was like scattered, and I was like trying to manage him, and I was trying to do what I was doing, and I was frustrated, and I was like definitely in my not self, you know?
Yeah.
And so it still happens. Like none of us are perfect. It's a work in progress. Like all of this wealth consciousness work. And this is a part of that. It's funny because like I didn't even plan on this live stream going to this place, but it is one of the most important parts of our wealth is our relationships, and certainly our relationships to our children. One of the biggest impacts of doing this work for me has been the difference in the relationships with my children. Because being able to see and step away from programming has enabled me to not program, not blindly program or condition my children.
Yep.
And because of that, our relationship is I have an amazing relationship with my 14-year-old because I'm not trying to make him live up to impossible standards that, one, he can never live up to, and two, really aren't important in the scheme of things, and three, is literally just programming that's designed to keep him playing small.
Yep. It's huge. It's huge when, and again, my kids are obviously younger. My oldest is 6.5, right? But to learn about who they are and what they need and how they work and support that process. And again, that can be challenging, right? Like my son and daughter are very, very different. They're both highly sensitive, right? They're very highly emotional. My oldest is highly communicative, right? And my son is a little bit more sensory and a little bit challenging with the communication. And so it's tapping into them and supporting that versus what they should be, right? Like what we think needs to happen, and being like, okay, what do you need because of who you are, not because of what I want you to do.
Yeah.
And operating from that place is very freeing. And I can't imagine what my parenting, I knew before Ouroboros that I wanted to be a conscious parent, right? Like I knew I wanted to do things differently. I didn't always know what that looked like, but over the past, year and a half, whatever it's been easier to be present. And when I do fall back into the programming, and when I do fall back, my kids have learned enough to kind of almost call me out on it. Like, well, why would I do that? Like, that's not what my body's telling me. And I'm like, all right, like, I hear you. Like, I hear you when you're saying to me, like, my body is saying this, or I feel this. And I'm like, oh, why was I doing that? Because I was stressed out and I wanted to do something faster to make my life easier, not because it was actually serving you. You know what I mean? Like, so it's been interesting. It's been really powerful, actually.
Yeah. So if anyone watching on either the business page or the watch party has questions for Kari or for me about any of this, like definitely type them. We can answer those questions. Kari, do you have questions for me? Do you have anything that you want to ask me?
Do I have anything that I want to ask you? I mean, I think one great question that I have for you, because I think you've kind of been around it, which is for this round 3, right? Round 3, I feel like, round 2 was so similar and yet so different, right? From round 1, like it had a lot of the similarities to it, but it was a whole other vibe, right? Like, and round 3 has been like 0.0 seconds, and I can already feel it's like a whole other vibe. Like, if you could describe what you feel like the biggest difference is with the round 3 Ouroboros and what we're all about to enter into, and your own expectation for what life looks like at the end of it, what comes up for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so the thing that's been really amazing about this program and also a little bit challenging is, it was downloaded, it came through me. The program came through me. All of it, the clears, all of it. Okay. And so I did the first round. And then when we went to do round 2, it was like, okay, we're just doing this same program again. And I literally went out and sold it as we're doing the same program again. And the week that the program started, I got another massive download about doing multi-dimensional work, not just the ancestral work that's a huge part of the program. So the basis of this program is really repatterning it, abundance, money, wealth, abundance, prosperity, worthiness, and deserving. Like that is really the focus of the program, is clearing and repatterning around those areas. And ultimately it's all about the worthiness and deserving, right? So a big part of the program that downloaded to me in the first place was maternal and paternal ancestral line clearing, and maternal and paternal ancestral line clearing, and parallel and timeline clearing. So we were doing some future timeline clearing, and some like multi-dimensional clearing, but it was a smaller part of the program. Round 2, that multi-dimensional piece became so much bigger, and we added this really in-depth generational piece. So not only were we doing just maternal and paternal ancestral lines, we then added a one-on-one clear where we go into 8 branches of your family tree and go back 20 generations in each branch of the family tree and clear. That's one of the one-on-one clears. But this multi-dimensional piece became this huge aspect of the program where we were literally clearing on a 13 chakra level system and a 13 dimension system. And I'm not going to say too much more about that because it is proprietary information to the program that has had like amazing radical transformations come on the other side of it. And so this time I was like, okay, we're just going in and we're going to do, round 2 again. It's going to be everything that we've created up until this point, and that's what we're going to go in and sell. And it became really apparent to me that I needed to do more work on talking about the programming and helping actually really fully understand the global financial agenda and financial slavery consciousness, because it's a really important piece. And because I believe all the other programming is tied into the global financial agenda, it's why all the other programming exists. It's like when you have this full understanding of the global financial agenda and how the programming works, then all of a sudden it's like dominoes. Like once you knock down one, all of a sudden you're seeing all of it. And so for me, my expectation is that this round is going to be just as powerful as round 2, but more so because I'm going to be focusing, I'm doing a new series in round 3 on the global financial agenda and on programming as a whole and how to identify it and how to create a practice, a daily practice of recognizing it and deconstructing and deconditioning it yourself. So that's probably the big change that's coming into round 3. We have so much content. There's literally content. In some weeks, you're getting 3 touches with me because you're getting 2 drops of pre-recorded content, and you're getting a Q&A with me, or you're getting a group call with me. And then that's not even including the one-on-one calls. It's like, there's a tremendous amount of content in this program. And this round, we've done a really amazing job of organizing it and putting it in a way that it's going to be really easy to, we did it really specifically so that it could be very activating in the right order and really easy to consume. And then to be really supported in the group calls and in the one-on-one clears based upon where the content is falling. So yeah, I mean, it just, my intention for this program is that I really want people, this program has been highly, highly destructive in nature. And I want it to continue to be that because I know that that has to happen in order to rebuild the foundation. But my intention is that at the end of round 3, we added a month to the program. So it's now 4 months long instead of 3 months. So at the end of the program this time, it's like, my expectation is that everyone will be in the beginning of the rebuilding phase, which will take us into phase 2 of the Wealth Alchemy programs, which is Phoenix, which is launching in the summer, which is really the reconstruction program. But yeah, it's, this round for me is about, it's just deeper. Every time for me, it's going deeper because every time I've gone deeper, every time I've expanded, every time, I never stop. I am daily doing my own wealth consciousness work. And as I expand and as I learn and as I grow, I'm always going to be sharing that. I mean, I'm doing this tremendous deep dive into human design right now. Yeah. And as it relates to wealth. And so that's a lot of, I'm going to be sharing a lot of that information in Phoenix in the reconstruction program. So that's a lot of what I'm working on, but I'm being really highly influenced by that right now. So of course that transmission and that energy and activation is going to come into Ouroboros, into this container this time. So I think like that's partially what people are feeling is different in my energy is there's a real activation of the science of differentiation, right? Like I am so heavily influenced by human design right now in my own life that I can't help but bring that into the container. And ultimately, it isn't about you achieving my infinite potential. It's about you achieving your infinite potential. And in order for you to understand your infinite potential, you have to come to terms with the fact that like, you've really got to embrace self-mastery and get to know and understand you. And so my programs, this program, any program that you do with me, they're not going to be cookie cutter programs because they don't fucking work. Like, one type of content and one box doesn't work for people. It's why like in these programs, these Ouroboros programs and these wealth alchemy programs, there will always be one-on-one clearing and one-on-one work because you cannot deconstruct your wealth consciousness without having it be individualized. It just doesn't work.
Well, and you said something I want to touch on really quickly because I think it's really, really powerful and I've experienced it with you and in the second round and I can already feel it in the third round, which is, you know, you are committed to your self-mastery. And it's funny because you're so into human design right now and so many of us in the group are right now, right? Like myself and your cousin, there's all of us, right? But the thing is that you are super into your self-mastery and so you keep expanding and so your container, you know, you bring those transmissions to your container. And I'm not the only alumni. Like Mallory's not the only alumni. We are also so dedicated to our own self-mastery and our own growth. And now you got all of those energy in the container as well. So it's like every time you do this, you have expanded, but so have so many of the people that continue to work with you that now you can't get into this container and just be average. Like it doesn't even exist. Like it's not even like it's not, if you're average, it's unavailable to you. Like you wouldn't even be watching this because you can't get into this container. And it's not like it's some secret society where you're not good enough for it. It's like, listen, we've done the work. And we've done the work and we're going to continue to do the work and continue to do the work and continue to do the work as a collective. So like, good luck.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like it's one of the things for me, it's been the biggest testament to this program is that the alumni have continued to just opt in and say, yes, I want more. Yes, I want more. And that is really the reason why the reconstruction program that's coming in June came because it was like, you know, we had 26 in round one and 24 of them signed up for round two. 24, 26 that were in round one came in as alumni in round two.
Yep.
And I don't know how many alumni we have this round. I did alumni access to this round more expensive than I did the
Oh, you froze. What's going on here? Tired. I'm so tired. It's okay. All right, I don't know if I froze or you froze or if you're still going and I can't see you. Mama.
Did I lose you?
Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Where did I lose you?
That you didn't know how many alumni were in round 3.
Oh yeah, so I'm not sure how many alumni are in round 3, but so I purposely raised the price of alumni access for round 3 because I wanted to make sure that it was only those that were really, really dedicated to doing the work this round were there because I could feel the energy of the round and I knew it was going to be next level.
Yeah.
And so I raised the price of alumni access for round 3. And I also created a VIP option. And the majority of the alumni that have opted in at the VIP option.
Of course, because we can't not do VIP.
Yeah, so they get advanced clearing, they get an advanced alumni clear, and then they get 2 separate group calls with me during the round, in addition to all the other parts of the program. And so, I'm not sure how many have signed up. I haven't actually looked and counted, but we've had a significant number of alumni. And what Kari's saying that I think is so important is that you don't come into this container and just get the support of me. You're literally coming in and getting the support of alumni, many of them who have been through this. They're now coming into their third round of this. So they've done the work and they've been through all these different cycles and all these different transitions, and they're there to help support the container. But in addition to that, I now have my 2 Wealth Alchemy apprentices who are now training to do the work, that are in the container holding that space and that support as well. So it's just, there's nothing else out there like this. Like, it doesn't exist.
No.
And it works, And so I want to talk to this a little bit, because I think you being who you are, this is something maybe that you can touch on. One of the things I see is people not signing up for this program because they don't want people to find out that they don't have all their money shit together.
Right. It's like, wait, I've worked really hard, right? Like, I've worked really hard to present this image that I have everything together, and I totally don't. And if anyone knows, then I'm a fraud, and nobody's going to want to work with me, and nobody's going to trust me because I'm fake and I'm broke and I'm fill in the blank, whatever you want to say, right? I've been there, right? Like, I've been there hardcore. I've been there. And all that is, I mean, it's straight up lies from the devil. Let's just be real. Like, it's just like excuses where it's like, hold on a second, because any other area in your life, any other area that doesn't have to do directly with money, you would not have a problem saying, oh yeah, and I'm learning this skill, and I'm getting better, and I'm doing this. We're like, oh, I'm a nurse and I have my bachelor's, but now I'm going for my master's. Does that mean that you're a sucky nurse? No. Does it mean that you're improving to be better? Yes. Like, it's like, oh, I'm a teacher, but now I'm going to go get this certification. Okay. So are you a shitty teacher? Like, or any other area of your life. Oh, like I lost 50 pounds. So, but I'm going to start going to the gym. Like, oh, why? Because you don't know how to work out. So you got a trainer? No, because you want to take it to the next level. Any other area of your life that you want to take to a next level, any kind of support you get, whether it's a coach or a trainer or education or books or read this podcast on this, or read this book on that, or, go talk to this healer about this, or go do Reiki to help you relax, or go take a yoga class to whatever. And it's like, we are willing to not only get support, but promote getting support in every other area of our, come to church with me, like, love you some Jesus, like all these other areas. But as soon as you talk about money, it's like, oh, I'm getting help on my money shit. Like, oh, I can't talk about that. And it's like, wait a second, you're getting help on your money stuff. Isn't that so great? Not just for you, but for the people around you, like, just like anything else. But yeah, there's all this shame, right, attached to money, and all these assumptions attached to, like, again, the self-worth compared to the financial currency wealth. And it's like, I had to really go through that and ask myself, like, what is it that I'm so scared of? Is it that I thought I couldn't receive, right? Because I thought that if I was getting help for money, that I was broke and I had to be fixed, and therefore they couldn't receive. Lie number one. I thought that my self-worth was tied to my money. So if people knew I was struggling financially, then I was a piece of shit. Lie number two. And I thought that, like, how can I charge these outrageous prices for people to work with me? If even saying it now, I can't even say it with a straight face because it's so ridiculous, right? We're like, how can I have people charge to, like, for me to coach them on, like, mindset and strategy when I'm getting, like, and when I'm in this program for, like, wealth consciousness? And it's like, no, that's exactly why I can, because I'm willing to do the work. You know what I mean? Right. But yeah, it was a whole thing.
I mean, like, this is like one of the things that you'll hear over and over from me if you join us in Ouroboros is like, I am so transparent with my money shit. And I'm like, I don't have all my shit together, right? Because it is a constant growth. It is constant evolution. And every time you move the decimal point over, every time you start to earn more shit comes up. Gets easier to deal with once you've done, like, the deep excavation. But it's like, it's never ending. There is no magic pill. There's no magic you know, you take this magic pill and then suddenly like you have economic and energetic freedom for the rest of your life. That doesn't exist.
Right.
And so we're all always going through money shit. And when we stay in that place of shame and guilt and not wanting people to know, and like, oh my God, if I sign up for Leah's, especially all of the abundance and money coaches out there, the people that are trying to putting out abundance programs, they're like, if I sign up for Leah's program, then people are going to know that I don't have all my shit together. Well, guess what? If they don't fucking already know that, they're insane, because nobody has all their money shit together. Fucking Oprah does not have all her money shit together. Nobody does. Everyone has shit around money, and we all have shit around money because we've literally been programmed to have shit around money.
Right. So of course,
doesn't matter how much you have. Doesn't matter how much is in your 401k. Doesn't matter how much is in your savings. Doesn't matter what your portfolio looks like. We all have shit around money. We can all benefit from deconstruction work and deprogramming. I'm literally taking myself through the spiral again right now. I have to take myself through level 3 today because I literally kicked my own ass for the last 2 weeks and forgot that I was taking myself through the spiral and was like, why am I so emotional? Why am I so like defeated? Why am I blah, 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 blah. Oh, because I've been in level 2 of the spiral for the last fucking, you are too, right? Or did we?
I was like, you and me both, like you and me both.
So anyway, I got to take myself through level 3, but I'm literally taking myself through the spiral right now with a money, wealth, and abundance focus. So I don't ever stop doing this work. It's always deeper. I'm always striving for better. And that is why you should sign up for this program. Like,
absolutely.
If you've got your shit a little bit together, chances are you actually don't. And the shit is going to hit the fan, because again, what happens is we get a little bit of success and then we start trying to build our multi-million-dollar mansion on top of a rotting foundation. And eventually those walls fucking crack and that building comes tumbling down because we haven't dealt with what's at the root. And so there's that excavation process, and then there's the rebuilding process, and then we come up against shit in the rebuilding process, right? And so it's lifelong work, and it is so rewarding once you like get into like the acceptance of, yeah, it's lifelong work. The biggest mistake I see people make that come into this program, and without fail, every round, there's a couple of them, it's not a lot, but there's a few of them that come in, and then when the work starts getting uncomfortable or they're not getting the results that they want, they bounce. They energetically pull themselves out of the container. And then, you know, I'm seeing it right now with a couple people that were in round 2 that like energetically pulled themselves out of the container, and now their life is just a fucking shit show because they chose to opt out, but they already had too much information.
Right. Yeah. Because
so I say that to say, if you commit to this program, fucking commit to this program. It's a process. You have to commit to the 4 months. You have to commit to staying in it and showing up and doing the work, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, because you will fuck yourself up so badly if you pull out in the middle and then go try to manage it on your own. It just doesn't work. Well, I feel like when I sell this program, it's like the not sell. Like, don't do this program.
Like,
because
like, right. But it's like in a good way, right? It's like, if you want to stay status quo, like don't join this program. If you want to bounce when like you're actually doing, like, it's like a public service announcement. Like, don't join because you think it sounds like it's going to be good for your bank account. And then when it gets hard, you leave and it actually makes your life worse. So I'm going to save you that. Like, you can either do the hard, ugly work and get through it and come out the other side with us and like see all that comes with that. Or you can jump in, get wet, jump out, roll around the mud, like by yourself, and like, good luck with that. You know, like it's just not going to work. Because it's ugly enough as it is. But like you said, you can't unknow something, right? Like, and this is something you and I talk about anyway, like on the side, right? With like slavery conscious and all that, right? It's like, you can't unknow things. So what are you going to do with it? Like you can't pretend like it doesn't exist anymore. You can try really hard to avoid it. It's still there. It's still there. It's still in your conscious. Like, it's still in your state of mind. Are you going to move through it to get to the other side to up level whatever that thing is, that topic is, or are you just going to sit with it and like drown?
Yeah.
Have fun with that.
Does anyone have questions for Kari or for me about any of the stuff that we've talked about? Do you have any other questions for me, Kari?
I mean, I feel like there's so many things we could talk about all night long. Do I have any other questions right now, though? For you, right? What do you feel like has been the biggest personal reward for yourself on staying committed to showing up and running Ouroboros and being willing to change and, you know, twist and change it as things come up?
Oh my gosh. So the biggest, I think, personal reward for me, it really is seeing the people that are coming out of this program experiencing freedom from the program and like actually experiencing energetic and economic freedom. Like, because I can see when the switch flips and like actually seeing people going out and realizing that and seeing the tremendous difference it makes in their lives. Like, there is no greater reward to me than seeing people being able to like live life the way that I've been living life for the last couple of years. And it's like, I know what it feels like, but it's hard to explain that feeling to somebody. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I can tell you what it feels like, but you have no ability to comprehend what energetic and economic freedom feels like until you actually experience it. And it's like, I know that someone's experienced it because they can't explain to me, but they know I know, and I know they know. And it's like every time that happens for me, I'm like, oh, that's my divine mission work. I was just successful. Like, I just made God happy. Like, I delivered the mission work that I was meant to deliver. And this person actually is now on the path to creating their heaven on earth experience because they actually are energetically and economically free for the first time in their lives. So for me, I think that's my biggest reward. Because I've already achieved it, you know, and I'm obviously, I'm always still working for higher and higher levels of it, but it's just seeing the difference that it makes in people's lives. It's just really seeing them be able to like live their life without the fear and without the, you know, this idea of like always being overextended. Like, the program is designed to keep us always feeling overextended. And like, no matter how hard we work, it's never enough. No matter how much we earn, it's never enough. We're always overextended. Even when we have money, sometimes it's that we have all this money, but we're working so hard. So our energy is overextended. Our health is overextended. Like, there's always a part of us that's overextended. And that is the program. And doing this work and joining Ouroboros and shifting your wealth consciousness work, it's about stopping the overextension.
Yes.
It's like, aren't you tired of just always feeling overextended? Like, aren't you tired of that? Like, that, I literally, like, I want to be like to every human being on this planet, like, there is a better way. You don't have to feel like this anymore. And in the long run, it requires a pretty minimal sacrifice to get to this place that like changes your entire life.
Yeah. And I think that that's why in the beginning of the call, like, I was bringing so much attention to like my physical well-being and my emotional well-being and the energy I have right now, which like literally makes no sense how much energy I have or how like I'm physically like looking right now and all of that, because it's all the different areas. And yeah, you always are striving for more, but not from this place of discontent or fear or stress or overextension like you're talking about. It's knowing like, hey, like, I'm in a really freaking good place right now, and I know that I have access to more, and I know I'm called to receive more, and I'm going to achieve that and receive that without doing what the people are doing, right? Which is being over. And that's how I always know when I'm falling into the programming, by the way, is when I'm feeling really stressed out or I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I'm like, okay, wait a second, what areas have I not been like clearing lately, because it's creeping back in, because that's not how it's meant to be. Like, I'm not forcing myself to be on this awful, like, I'm with my baby 24/7, right? And I'm physically, like, I just gave birth 5 seconds ago, and, you know, and all of these things. And it's like, wait a second, like, on paper, I should probably be really stressed out, but actually, like, doing like really good, like genuinely, like really genuinely good in all of these different areas, because I don't have to hold on to all of the stories and all the old beliefs anymore that really weren't serving me anyway, but that I was really wrapped up in because I didn't know any different. And that's the other thing I just want to talk about really quickly is, this isn't about like not being good enough. Like, this isn't about having to do more. This isn't about like, oh, you suck at life. This is about, hey, you didn't know better. And now you've listened to this interview, and now you've heard this conversation, and now you know that you do get to have a different option. Like, you didn't know better before, so you don't have to judge that. And we're not here to judge that and say, oh, you suck at life because up until this point you lived in a place of shame, or you lived in a place of fear, or you lived in a place of stress, or, you know, doing all the things you should do. Like, okay, cool, you did, that's true, all right, but now what are you going to do? Because now you know something different, right? Like, now you've heard this conversation, you've heard my story, you've heard Leah's story. Like, what you going to do? Because from this point, you could, once you know, right, like that whole ignorance is bliss thing, that's just true in a horrible, like terrible way, but like that's just true, because ignorance is bliss, true. So you could have stayed playing in that playground, like you could have played standing in that sandbox, but now y'all done fucked up because now you heard this. So what you gonna do? Like, you gonna come play with us in this sandbox over here so you can move to that next level, or are you gonna get dragged down even further in that one? Because not only did you not know before, but you know now, and so now you're choosing it even that much more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes to all of that. I literally just say yes to all of that because it's so true.
Just, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and ignorance was so blissful, and then it's just not, you know, it's not after you know the things. So, I just dropped a link in the comment section. If you've enjoyed this video, if you watch this video and you're like, yes, I'm in, I have to do this, I have to change my life, I'm tired of being overextended. If you're a mom and you're ready to like embrace your full worthiness and deserving around money,
Yes.
Wealth, receiving, abundance, prosperity, I dropped Kari's affiliate link actually for Ouroboros there in the comment section. Do you have a bonus, Kari?
I do have a bonus. And I'm changing actually now, because you just said that the program has been extended for 4 months. So I'm going to do 4 intuitive strategy sessions. So 1 for each month. So as everyone's processing all this shit, and as things are coming up, and as they're like, wait, now what do I do? Where do I go? Since I do the mindset intuitive strategy stuff, I'm going to do 1 call a month for my people to do the intuitive strategy, to kind of just help them clear out all of that and to move forward. So we're going to
So that's beautiful. Like, that's so intuitive business strategy stuff, right?
Yep.
So if like, this is Kari's bonus. So if you sign up with her affiliate link, you literally get 4 intuitive business strategy sessions with her for free in addition to the program. Like, it's her bonus by using her affiliate link. So I've dropped that there in the comments. It'll also be in the description of this video. If you have any questions about the program, you can reach out to me, but you can also reach out to Kari. I'm sure she'd be happy to answer anything. And yeah, so I'm just so thankful that you were here. Thanks for sharing this time. Thanks for asking me all these incredible questions. Thanks for answering. Thanks for being transparent. I'm so fucking excited that you're back for round 3. You always just bring so much incredible like energy and knowledge and wisdom to the container. So I'm super, I mean, that's the other thing about this work. Like, I feel so fucking blessed. Like, there's so many amazing humans in this program. When we did the call the other day and I was scrolling through and I was inviting the people, I was like mind blown at the caliber of people that are in this program. It's, and the other thing about this program is like lifelong friendships are formed here. Like, the community is so strong, and there's a Telegram chat. There's like literally like the sense of community that you get from participating in this program is off the charts. And then once you graduate, there's an alumni chat and an alumni group where all the alumni are there. So it's a community, it's like a lifelong life change, like
It's incredible. I mean, these are people from all over the world that you know you could always reach out to, and they're always going to support you, and you're going to support them without even a thought, like literally without even a thought, because you've bonded so deeply in these programs. It's incredible. A sorority can't touch this. Do you know what I mean? Like a sorority network can't touch like the community that we're building at all, because it's just that much more incredible.
Yeah. All right.
Thank
Well, I
you
love
for
you.
having
Have a
me.
great night. Thanks for your time.
Thank
I'll
you.
see you on Tuesday for the Q&A. Our first Q&A in Ouroboros. We've already started, by the way. We started Thursday. Registration's open till the 29th, but we have our first Q&A on Tuesday, and the first content is dropping later tonight. So you want to get in now so you don't miss any of the amazing stuff. You can obviously catch it all on the replay, but first live Q&A with me is happening on Tuesday inside the container. So do the thing, click the link, and I will see you guys inside.
Bye. Thanks, Leah. Thanks, everyone.